Alright, so I just made a few videos, one about why I think sleep happens and why death happens, and also I've talked about the possible ways that humanity, through technology, can create basically an immortal object. And now I'm going to talk about it's the exact same topic because all these topics are related very intimately, I think. How mind control is possible. It's the same topic as everything else, it's just in the context of this interesting subject of mind control that a lot of people are interested in. Because my primary interest is to figure out consciousness, I've, of course, been interested in a lot of mind control kind of topics. And a lot of people out there think that mind control is a current technology that's in existence, that maybe like the government has and is keeping secret. I don't think that at all. The government, as far as I can tell, is very, very far away from that technology. But really, the only reason people think that mind control exists already is because people don't really understand psychology, or really, people don't know what they're talking about, essentially. For example, some people think that there are like radio devices that result in mind control. Whatever frequency you think it is, like some people think it's ELF frequencies, like very, very large, long distance frequencies that influence people's minds. Yet can't go into any details about how that would be possible, because it doesn't make sense. And then there's the whole 5G thing that's going on, and a lot of people think that there are a lot of nefarious uses for the 5G, and there probably are nefarious uses. For example, like seeing through walls. I don't really agree with that. Like, I thought about it for 12 seconds, and I'm like, oh. If you think about it, a camera works in a kind of similar way as a radio, and you could imagine how a radio device could be used to see and basically they are. A radio device could be used to see in various wavelengths of light. However, something like that isn't going to be, well, no, maybe, no, okay, now that I think about it a little bit more, maybe that is possible. But I'm not talking about that right now. I'm talking about mind control. It's not going to be used for mind control. People think that radio devices are used for mind control, and one of the arguments that's referenced is this device that was made using microwaves. That basically there's this technology where if you put your head right next to it, you beam it right into your ear. The microwave, what it does is it heats up the inside of your ear. So it turns on and off really fast. And so the inside of your ear heats up and cools down rapidly. And the heating up of your ear causes an expansion of your tissues. So the expansion and contraction of the tissues inside your ear lead to noises being made that you can hear. So you have to put your face, your head, your ear right up against this device, and the microwave heats up and your ear heats up and cools down. And they've timed it so that the person putting their face right next to the device can hear voices. You can send voices. You can create sounds in someone's ear, but it sounds like a robot voice. There's no way to change the pitch, I guess. It just sounds like a robot voice. And also, you can't do it for that long because, obviously you're you're messing up your ear by doing that. And some really stupid people view that as like a mind control device. So if I whisper into your ear, does that mean I'm controlling your mind? It's just completely ridiculous. I mean, there are devices that actually do beam sound, actual pressure waves through the air onto particular spots. But even that's not a mind control device. You're not influencing someone's thoughts directly. It's just like talking to someone. And none of these technologies have anything to do with mind control at all. All right, anyway, enough of that tangent. Mind control, however, is possible, I think. The way you do it is you would identify the precise material that is needed for the precise qualia or experience or thought. Qualia. It wouldn't be. It couldn't really be that complicated of an experience. It would be something simple like sweetness. I use that example a lot. Sweetness. So you'd identify the particular material necessary for sweetness, and on one hand, you have a list of materials already in existence, which are listed by their ability to be sweet. And so take one of those off the top of that list. Near the top of that list, let's say sugar. Sugar is pretty sweet. And in the context of human experience, basically, due to my very limited basic education in neuroscience, you take this sweet material, sugar, put it into your mouth, a whole bunch of it. You got to put a whole bunch of it in your mouth, and the material binds to your receptors. Now, in neuroscience, today, they use certain terms in place of an explanation because they don't understand at all how it works. They just use terms like, it sends a signal. Yeah, I mean, they have identified what materials are doing what. That is understood. But using the term information and signal are completely meaningless terms. What's actually going on is that all of these materials are creating coherence in a particular time frame. If you get a whole bunch of these materials doing the same thing at the same time, that creates coherence in the brain. And depending on the neurotransmitter being employed in this sweet experience, due to this cascade of chemical reactions caused by the binding of the sugar to the receptor. By the way, the binding itself, the binding is coherence. It is a physical force, a binding, just like gravity, just like magnetism. It's a physical force, and that is coherence. And you get a whole bunch of this happening all at once in a whole bunch of different places in the brain. You have coherence, and that results in you, as an individual with self-awareness, experiencing sweetness. You can throw in one sugar particle and the coherence will happen, but on a very small scale. It won't be enough to create the general coherence. It won't be enough for you to really experience it at your high level of consciousness. So you get the correct neurotransmitter, and there are a bunch of neurotransmitters that are already mapped to various qualia. So likely you'd get, you'd employ sugar or the sweet neurotransmitter, or one of these materials that is similar, and you would gather a bunch of that material, a bunch of it, and somehow create a, you'd make it a permanently coherent. You know, just like, you know, when they make magnets, you take the right material, like let's say neodymium, which is not magnetically coherent, throw it into a solenoid, which is copper wire wound up with DC current applied to it, and that's how you make a permanent magnet. So you do the exact same process. Well, not the exact same. It's the same concept. You take that material, which is because so in our hypothetical mind control device, we're going to make other people experience sweetness. So you take the correct material, and then you put it into your device, which is analogous to the solenoid. However, it wouldn't be a normal solenoid, I don't think. It's highly unlikely because you're dealing with different geometries. And I have no idea how to make this device at all, because I don't know what the right materials are, and I don't know what the correct angles are. The reason we can make magnets is because we know what the right materials are and what the right angles are, the correct geometry as far as electromagnetism. And it is probably the simplest because it is orthogonal electromagnetism, 0 and 90 degrees. And we've basically got that technology down, and pretty much that technology has led to everything that we have today. And so basically the next step in our technology is to deal not with the 90 and 0 degree forces, but also the forces in between. So that's what I'm talking about. And consciousness is somewhere in between 0 and 90 degrees. And I think probably sweetness, for example, is a very specific degree in between 0 and 90 degrees. Arbitrarily 47.92 degrees or something. Who knows? So you get the right materials, and basically the concept is the same thing as making a magnet. So your result is a chunk, a very large chunk, probably a large chunk of this permanently coherent material, a sweet magnet that's over there. For all intents and purposes, it's an immortal entity that is perpetually experiencing sweetness itself. And depending on the mass and the level of coherence and how close your brain is to it, you will experience that sweetness. Its sweetness field will influence your brain, and you will experience sweetness. And so for this hypothetical technology, my kooky name for it was a sweet door, because I imagine this material being embedded in a wall or some kind of a door frame, and when you walk through the door, you experience sweetness. So I call it a sweet door. But you know, it's just one hypothetical example. One qualia, sweetness. And I wouldn't be able to really nail down what the precise qualia are. I don't know what the geometries are, and I'm not 100% certain that my analysis of this geometry stuff is even correct. I have no idea. But it is testable. This is something that can be done. And I pretty much know the steps that are needed to be taken. It's just I personally can't do all of the steps by myself. Yeah, if anyone out there is interested in this, potentially creating this technology, I'm willing to help. It's testable. The steps are pretty clear if you understand the foundation of monism, number one, which I can basically prove. I can teach it very, very clearly in common terms so that anyone can understand it. I can prove it. Basically what I'm doing right now is taking that foundation of monism, that ontological foundation, and running with it, brainstorming it, applying it to our current technology and what can be done in the future. So I'll go into more details about this in the future. Thanks for watching.